welcome to What's Cooking. I'm Lisa Glickman, and sometimes I'm in the mood for a stew, and it doesn't have to be in the wintertime. Sometimes stews even are good in the summertime. We're going to do a braised pork and tomatillo stew today, and the pork is going to be really tender and succulent, and the tomatillos have a bright kind of sour flavor to them. So let's get started. I'm using a pork shoulder, so this has a lot of fat in it. The fat makes it really flavorful. You can use a pork tenderloin or a pork loin, but I really like the pork shoulder, or even those boneless ribs. The boneless pork ribs are great in this dish. So I've browned them here in the pan, and you want to do the browning in batches because if you put it all in at once, then it will steam. So you want to get a nice brown on that. So once these are all browned, then we're going to put in 8 garlic cloves, okay? And just toss those around and get those kind of nice and softened along with your pork. And then when this is all nice and browned and caramelized, then we're going to take this out. And then to this pan, we're going to turn up the heat just a little bit. We're going to add 2 onions. Now your onions can be just kind of rough chopped. They don't have to be completely finely chopped. So we're going to move this all over to this plate over here and then get our onions in. So you want to put the onions in and get them nice and softened. Got one more onion here. I'll show you. Just put kind of a rough chop on it. It doesn't have to be anything small, tiny dice. Just a rough chop is perfect. Okay, and once those are all browned, then we're going to add our pork back to the pan. So here we have our pork and our garlic, and everything goes back into the pool. So in we go. Then in this pan back here, I have some tomatillos. Now a tomatillo is actually, it's not a tomato, it's a member of the gooseberry family. So it has a really bright, almost sour flavor to it. And I have about 1 pound of them in this pan back here that are quartered. I've just quartered them like this. Put them in this pan back here with some orange juice, about 1 cup of orange juice, a little bit more, and a bottle of dark beer. Here I've used a Mexican dark beer, which just has a lot of really rich flavor, and then the orange is going to add to that nice sourness. So once that all gets nice and softened, I've used my handy dandy immersion blender. I love this tool because you can blend blend them all up in the pan rather than having to take them out and put them in a blender and then put them back. So this immersion blender is great for that job. So I've got the tomatillos. I've also got 1 pound of peeled Roma tomatoes that are in there, just canned Roma tomatoes, that's perfect. The orange juice and the dark beer. And then once it's all blended up, it goes in here with the pork. Just dump it all in there. We can turn that down now because remember, this is a braise, so we're going to be simmering this. And to this, we're going to add a jalapeno. Here's a great tip for chopping a jalapeno. If you cut both ends off like this and then just run your knife down, you can get a really nice, get the jalapeno nice and peeled, and then you've got all this center seeds and all the hot stuff, and you can just throw that away. So we're going to put a nice dice on our jalapeno, just a small dice, and you can add 1 or 2 or 3 jalapenos depending on how hot you like them. So we're going to put a dice on them about like this. So chop up this whole jalapeno and put that in there, and then we have a bunch of cilantro. And we're going to put a rough chop on the cilantro, the same thing, and then we're going to dump all that into the pan. So, and that's all there is. You're going to bring this up to a boil, turn it down, let it simmer, and let it go for about 1.5 hours. And when it's done, it looks like this. It's a beautiful, slow braise. That pork has gotten really soft. And I've added a can of some black beans in here, too. You can leave the black beans out, or the black beans make it really nice. So we're going to serve this just with some white rice. Look at this beautiful stew. The pork is really tender and it's falling apart. What a beautiful dish. And I'm topping it with a little lime sour cream, just for a garnish. Yum. I'm Lisa Glickman. You can find me at my website, lisaglickman.com, and I'm the homegrown chef in every issue of 1859 magazine. It's on newsstands and at 1859oregonmagazine.com, where you can find these recipes under food and drink, then click Oregon Recipes.